The first scenario that we're going to talk about today is the scenario of Stephen Smith and Mrs. Jones. And Stephen Smith has had this repetitive behavior of being disruptive. And what would happen? He's thrown a notebook across the classroom, almost hitting another student. And what were the steps that I would follow in this scenario? Well, the steps I would follow would be I would document. I would have the teacher bring the documentation to the office or email it to the office of what has taken place or transpired in the class, and I put a fictitious list here together of dates, and I would call the parents in, and I would speak to the parent and say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we're here today to talk about Stephen's disruptive behavior in class, and it's been a repetitive issue that's taken place. We've had on August the 17th, Mrs. Jones spoke to Stephen, pulled him aside, and spoke to him about his attitude being disruptive in class. And she thought things were settled. Then the next month, on September 23rd, Mrs. Jones had to move Stephen because he was being disruptive in class and continually talking, and Mrs. Jones asked him not to talk. She moved him to the front of the classroom so Stephen could focus, and so Stephen wouldn't be distracted and he wouldn't be distracted by others. And that didn't seem to help. He was still being a distraction in class. Then on October 5th, you remember Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you remember Mrs. Jones calling you and speaking to you about the disruption in the classroom that Stephen was causing? Do you remember that conversation by Mrs. Jones? You do? Okay, great. Today, November 1st, Stephen threw a notebook across the room and barely missed another student's head. Another student these students could have been injured in the classroom because he flung it across the classroom, and this November 1st that this has taken place. And I wanted to reach out to you to let you know that Stephen is going to be serving an in-school suspension. We've got issues with Stephen that in August the 17th, September 23rd, October, and now November, it seems like every month there's something going on with Stephen, and we've had to remove him in class according to the Texas Law 37.002. He's been removed by the teacher. When removed by the teacher and sent to the office, I could place him in another classroom. I'm suspending him. That's what I've chosen to do. Or I could send him to an alternative education program as provided in section 37.008. And I don't think we need to go to that extreme of sending to an alternative education program. I don't think we need to do that at all. But he is going to be serving in-school suspension. And I know Stephen's on the basketball team, and according to section 37.003, this prohibits Stephen from attending any school-sponsored or school-related activities, and that's basketball. So tonight he will not be playing in the basketball game. And I can see you're upset, and I can see you're frustrated, but I've got to look to. We're going to help Stephen out. There's no doubt we're going to help Stephen out, but I'm concerned about the safety of the young people in the classroom. I spoke to 3 students after class, and all 3 students and the teacher confirmed that Stephen threw the notebook across the classroom, almost hitting another student. And as a result of that, this behavior will not be accepted or tolerated at the school. And we've given Stephen many opportunities, as you can see, all the way back to August. We've given opportunities. Spoke to him. We spoke to you, and it seems everything is starting to escalate. And he will be serving in-school suspension. But I want you to know as well that there's a program that has been established, and we just started the program. It's called Company of Care. In this program, I think Stephen's a perfect fit for this program because what has happened with this Company of Care, there is retired athletes that are mentoring young people. They're mentoring young people with their homework. They're mentoring young people with their attitudes, and meet with these athletes, retired athletes, once a week. And my question to you is, would you be willing to have a professional athlete meet with Stephen once a week to speak to him and encourage him and talk to him and kind of curb those behaviors and get more focused and not being disruptive in class? Well, great. I'm glad you are willing to meet with him. And those are the steps I would do. The laws were 37.002, removal by the teacher. It stated that a teacher may send a student to the principal's office to maintain effective discipline in the classroom. That's what's taken place, and the teacher, Mrs. Jones, has done that. I took also from Yvette Jackson. Yvette Jackson, in her book Aim High, Achieve More: How to Transform Urban Schools, on page 60 and 61, she talked about this Principal Durkee. And the Principal Durkee said, if families' basic needs are not met, learning has little chance of blossoming. Through aggressive grant writing and relentless pursuit of community partnerships, the school established what was called a community care team with 26 partners and developed on-site counseling and wellness centers, and helped make the school a safe and welcoming environment regardless of the issues students and families face. And that's exactly what I would like to do. I'd like to have a time where we could work with these retired athletes and help them work with not just athletes in the school, but other students, and having this mentorship program so they can meet with them and learn some traits and things to focus on to help them stop being disruptive in class. That's what I would do as far as in scenario one.